Welcome to episode number 5 of Latte's Vision. We got a lot of stuff to go over. Things like Cody Rhodes' contract situation, Lyra Valkyria potentially having a character change, Danhausen potentially in the mystery box, NXT is on fire, a preview of tonight's Smackdown, and Brock Lesnar's WrestleMania schedule, and so much more. But let's get right into it. First, talking about Finn Balor's Catch Your Breath theme song returning. Finn Balor revealed that his old Catch Your Breath theme song was originally supposed to only return for one night at Raw in Belfast, but the reaction was so well received that it's now probably back for good. Thank God. His old theme song was horrible, absolutely horrible, and thanks to the fans, even though the online fans apparently don't exist at Triple H, we got him to keep the theme song, so thank God, thank everybody. I always never liked Finn Balor, but the first time he came out to that theme song and I got to see it, I am now a huge Finn Balor fan. So this just goes to show how important a theme song is to a wrestler's presentation. Next, Randy Orton has revealed that he plans on wrestling for another decade. Randy Orton is currently 45, so this would put him at retiring at 55 years old. And that is totally possible because Goldberg retired at like 59, I think. So, I mean, I would obviously love to see Randy Orton wrestle for another 10 years. That would be incredible. The only worry I really have is Randy Orton has a history of back issues. So that would be really the only thing I'm worried about. But other than that, this will be awesome. Let's talk about Cody Rhodes' contract. That's what I want to talk about. Cody Rhodes was on a podcast and said his next WWE contract will be his last. And me, as a professional Cody Rhodes hater, I am very okay with that. Next, this is just sad and creepy. So there was this clip posted on Twitter, and it was this interviewer asking a mentally disabled, at least it appears that way, mentally disabled person answering the question, what is WWE's greatest era? Now, of course, with 10 new eras in the past 2 years, this is kind of a tough question, but he ended up saying the Attitude Era, but not for the reason that you would think. Not because of the good wrestling, not because of how chaotic it was, not because of names like Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, not because of that. It was because it had bra and panties matches. He said, the Attitude Era was the best. This is just me paraphrasing here. The Attitude Era is the best era because it has bra and panties matches. I want to see Liv Morgan, Maxine Dupree, Becky Lynch, and Natalya in bra and panties matches. And yes, this person is mentally disabled, but it is still unbelievably creepy. Now, I know some people might say he looks like the average male wrestling fan or just the average wrestling fan in general. Now, I do think a lot of men who watch wrestling find the women attractive, but finding women attractive is different than being derogatory and disrespectful to women. There's men who watch wrestling who like the women. There's women who watch wrestling who like the men. That is what it is. That's going to happen. But when you're saying stuff like you want to see them in a bra and panties match, that is way too far. If you are looking at women in this way, I mean, women in the bra and panties matches, they weren't put out there to have good, entertaining matches. They were treated like objects in short matches, and they were only out there to be shown off and treated like objects just for a bunch of creepy guys to check out. And women back then fought so hard for women now to not have to be in bra and panties matches. Again, I know this person is mentally disabled, but what motivates you to say something like this out loud? Even if you are thinking it in your head, why would you say it out loud, especially when you're being recorded? If you are thinking of women like this, whether that's women in WWE or just other women in general, please get help and talk to someone about this, and because you shouldn't be looking at women like that. Again, thinking they're hot or attractive is different than them wanting them to be in a derogatory, misogynistic, disrespectful match. So if you are thinking of women like that, get help. However, Jordan Grace did see this tweet and replied to it and said, interviewing mentally disabled people, you know we're going to say some off-the-wall, socially unacceptable shit for views. It gets to a point. And she is speaking facts. She is saying nothing but the truth. This interviewer shouldn't have posted this. Yes, this person is mentally disabled. Does that excuse what he said and make it okay? Obviously not, no. But the interviewer, first of all, just shouldn't have asked this person a question like this. And if he really didn't think that he was going to say some crazy stuff, again, he shouldn't have posted it. Let me know your thoughts on this, though. Next, there have been discussions regarding a shift to Lyra Valkyria's character. Valkyria would become more aggressive as she and Bayley are tired of being overlooked. Lyra absolutely needs this. She caught fire after her feud with Becky Lynch, but they ended up doing literally nothing with her and just throwing her in the tag division. So I think a potential character change could really help propel Lyra Valkyria back to where she was. She should have just been put straight into the main event scene, if we're being honest, but obviously that didn't happen. So hopefully Lyra Valkyria does belong in the main event, so hopefully WWE realizes that, and with this character shift potentially, they put her in the main event. The Mystery Crate is officially announced to be revealed at Elimination Chamber by both Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis. There's a lot of rumors, of course, that Chris Jericho could be in there. I think maybe Royce Keys could be in there. A WrestleMania or 2K promotional material could be in there. It could be Triple H saying, it's a new era. However, the biggest rumor and the betting favorite is Danhausen. Now, I don't know anything about Danhausen. All I did was a quick Google search on him, and I know he was in AEW. I know he's kind of like a comedic, supernatural type character. That's about the extent of my knowledge about him, though. I do think this would be interesting. I know when he was released from AEW, WWE reportedly had interest in him, and he's been posting things that could potentially foreshadow him being at in the crate, and it seems like it would be very Danhausen-y to be in the crate. So I would be interested to see this, and I would definitely be open to this idea and interested to see what happens. Next, let's talk about NXT. NXT has been on fire. NXT last week averaged its highest viewership since July of last year with 744,000 viewers, and I believe last week it had over 700,000. So NXT has just always been, ever since I've started watching, it's been consistently great. Every single week it's been good. They don't really have bad shows that often. There was 4 title matches on the most recent episode with 3 title changes. The only one that wasn't a title change was because Zarya turned on ZaRuca, which I'll talk more about in a second. But I mean, NXT is doing incredible, especially with Joe Hendry as the NXT champion. I love that. I know not everybody watches NXT every week, but if you don't and you're able to, watch it. Because it's absolutely incredible. It's every Tuesday on the CW. So please watch it if you can. I promise it's worth it. On NXT, we also had the title changes were Elio LaFleur defeating Jasper Troy, winning the Speed title. There was Miles Bourne dethroning Ethan Page, preventing him from becoming the longest reigning NXT North American champion of all time. Which I really didn't know who was going to win that match, but now that Ethan Page lost, I think maybe he could be getting called up soon, and I would obviously love that. And the last one was the Vanity Project winning the NXT Tag Team Championships from Dark State. Now, I think now that everybody in the Vanity Project has gold, I think that's great for them. I don't really like the Vanity Project because they just annoy me, but yeah. So a great episode of NXT. Again, watch it if you can. However, probably the biggest thing that happened on the show, Zarya turning on ZaRuca before her match with JC Jane. It's announced that NXT Stand and Deliver 2026 will officially take place outside of WrestleMania week for the first time. The show is set for Saturday, April 4th in St. Louis, Missouri. So it's going to take place about 3 weeks before WrestleMania, which I think that could actually be really good because then there's not so much wrestling jam-packed into one weekend. And it gives NXT Stand and Deliver its own weekend to shine. And I think this could be actually really great. I kind of like this, and I hope, depending on how it goes, I hope they do this in future years. Roman Reigns' season quote tweeted this and said Zarya versus ZaRuca inside Hell in a Cell in the main event. I think that should totally be the main event. Absolutely. This is going to be a great blood feud heading into Stand and Deliver. I'm not sure if there's been Hell in a Cell matches in NXT. I'd assume there has been. I just Googled it, and there has never been a Hell in a Cell match on the NXT brand. So the first ever NXT Hell in a Cell match, Zarya versus ZaRuca, I think that would be great, especially since you don't see women's Hell in a Cell matches very often at all. I am a huge fan of both Zarya and ZaRuca, and this feud would be incredible. I am a little bit sad that they turned on each other, or Zarya turned on her, but still very excited for this feud. Let's talk about Smackdown. Tonight on Smackdown, the men's Elimination Chamber match participants will stand in the ring together, that being Javon Evans, Trick Willie, Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, LA Knight, and Jey Uso, yeet. Now, 4 of these 6 guys are just absolutely great on the mic. So I think if they actually let them have kind of a proper promo, maybe Randy and Cody are the first 2 in the ring, and they kind of help build tension towards their match, and then everybody else starts coming out one after the other pretty much. I think they could actually have a really good promo, obviously ending in a brawl like always. But let's go over the full Smackdown card for tonight. We have Drew McIntyre, the undisputed WWE champion, making an appearance. We have Solo Sikoa versus Uncle Howdy. Please end that feud. Have this be the last match. Have Uncle Howdy get the lantern back, please. Candice LeRae versus Jordynne Grace. Jordynne Grace should probably just squash Candice LeRae. Obafemi versus The Miz should squash The Miz, of course. Rio versus Nia Jax and Lash Legend, the irresistible forces. I think Nia Jax and Lash Legend are actually going to win this, and I think they should, because it's seeming like I think Rhea's going to win the Chamber and face Jade at WrestleMania, so obviously she wouldn't be defending the titles then. And Io seeming like she's going to have a feud with Julia headed into WrestleMania. And now that Nia Jax and Lash Legend actually have a tag team name, I think it's a realistic chance that they win here. And I think they should, so that Rhea and Io can kind of do their own things for WrestleMania. And next, we have both of the Elimination Chamber matches fully filled out. We have Jey Uso, Javon Evans, Trick Williams, Randy Orton, Cody Rhodes, and LA Knight, and Jey Uso forgot to yeet, in the men's chamber match. If you want me to go in depth about who I think's going to win this and everything, I'll put the link to that video in the top right, so you can check it out. It's my full predictions video where I predicted every match and who I think's going to win, any run-ins, everything. As for the women, there's Kiana James, Asuka, Raquel Rodriguez, Alexa Bliss, Rhea Ripley, and Tiffany Stratton. Again, same thing if you want to see that full video where I go in depth in the top right. There have been internal discussions that have reportedly taken place for turning Trick Williams babyface following his crowd reactions. Trick Williams consistently every week gets the biggest pop of the night, and the whoop that trick chants get louder and louder every week. I absolutely am loving Trick Williams and what he's doing. I'm not gay, but Trick Williams, he is definitely better as a heel than he is as a babyface, in my opinion. I don't know if other people feel that way, but I definitely feel that way. He has been absolutely incredible at what he's doing. And who cares if a heel is getting cheered? It's only bad if a babyface is getting booed. But if a heel is getting cheered like Dominic Mysterio does, who cares? It doesn't matter. It's not a bad thing necessarily, unless you're really trying to get that heel to have heat. But I think they should keep Trick Williams as a heel. Let me know what you think, though. Let's talk about the whole Elimination Chamber qualifying match that happened on Raw between the men. It was Bronson Reed versus Jey Uso versus the original El Grande Americano. Bronson Reed went to break up a pin that El Grande Americano was doing on Jey Uso, and he looked like he hurt his shoulder initially, but it was just a routine. He just punched him in the side. I mean, it wasn't anything crazy. He just kind of jumped and rolled, punched him in the side, and he tore his bicep, a distal bicep tear, which the recovery time for that is 4 to 6 months. So, I mean, that's so bad. They might as well just break up the division at this point, unless Braun Breaker can miraculously come back. And obviously, this is massively affecting the Masked Man angle. Bronson Reed's bicep injury is expected to cause significant changes to the Masked Man angle. The Masked Man and Logan Paul were planned to factor into the finish with Reed qualifying, but the storyline is now likely to undergo heavy rewrites. I mean, I'm assuming it was originally supposed to be for Braun Breaker, and then they switched to Bronson Reed after he got injured, and now Bronson Reed is injured, and assuming the person under the mask is Seth Rollins, it wouldn't make sense for him to go after Logan or Theory because they weren't even in the division when he got kicked out, so it wouldn't make any sense. At this point, I think they should maybe just pivot and have the Masked Man not be Seth Rollins and maybe just have it be Bad Bunny and have him attack Logan Paul and then get Logan Paul versus Bad Bunny at WrestleMania, and maybe just have Seth Rollins return on an episode of Raw or at Elimination Chamber or something like that. Obviously, since Bronson Reed had a torn bicep mid-match, he couldn't finish the match and he couldn't go for the win, so Jey Uso ended up winning, and the video of Jey Uso qualifying is getting so many dislikes on YouTube. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Why are you so mad? He wasn't even originally supposed to win. Who cares, man? He's not going to win the chamber. He wasn't even originally supposed to be in the match. So, like, why are you mad? It doesn't make sense. But, of course, after Bronson Reed getting injured, the entire original Vision is injured. Seth Rollins, Braun Breaker, and Bronson Reed. It's just so unfortunate because this faction had so much potential, and this is going to be like a huge what-if moment in WWE history. I mean, what if Seth Rollins never actually got injured? It's pretty coincidental that the biggest storyline with this faction was a fake injury, and they ended up all getting injured. But yeah, just super unfortunate. Obviously, Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker are both said to be like rehabbing as hard as they can, trying to get back as quick as possible. I think Seth Rollins will definitely be back in time for WrestleMania, but I don't think Braun Breaker is going to be back. Yes, he's a superhuman, but I mean, I don't know, because the recovery time is from 4 weeks to like 3 months, I think it was. So, you know, there's a chance, but probably not. Next, Jacob Fatu has strong support within WWE's creative department for involvement in the WWE Undisputed title scene at WrestleMania 42, and I think this is definitely where he belongs. He is a huge, huge star for the future of this business. And probably is going to main event WrestleMania several times. I think he definitely belongs in the world title picture, but I kind of hope it's not just Drew versus Cody versus Jacob, because, I mean, it's just not that interesting. I mean, I hope it's at least a fatal 4-way between Drew, Cody, Jacob, and Randy. And hopefully Randy's revealed to be the one who actually attacked Jacob Fatu. Obviously, Jacob thinks it's Drew McIntyre right now, but yeah. WWE has officially moved the start time of WrestleMania 42 in Las Vegas from 4 p.m. to 2:30 p.m. for both nights. More time, more matches, question mark. Now, you'd assume when you hear this that does mean more matches. However, with WWE and TKO only caring about money and not the quality of the product, I don't think it's going to happen. Obviously, I would love for this to happen. I just don't think it is. They're probably just doing it because, I don't know. It doesn't really make sense for them to do it unless they're going to do more matches. So I have hope, but probably not. Former Women's North American NXT champion Thea Hale tweeted before her match against Blake Monroe on Tuesday that she will gain custody of the Speed Championship while shotgunning a beer with her dog in the background. And she, so far, is a woman of her word. She ended up beating Blake Monroe due to a returning Jada Parker, who apparently had a neck injury. That must have been a lie, because she came back a week later. So that's obviously great. Glad that she's healthy. But Thea Hale advancing to the next round. I would love to see Thea Hale win the Speed Championship. I think it fits her character well. So, hell yeah. Hopefully she can win the Speed title. Sources indicate to Body Slam that there is no tentative date for a WWE draft in 2026. The rosters could be reshuffled throughout the year just like 2025, but as of right now, there is no draft currently scheduled. This is bad. Please do a draft. It is desperately needed. The brands are so uneven right now. Both the tag team divisions are dead. The IC title division is dead. The women's US title division is dead. The women's world championship scene is dead. I mean, it's bad. It's really bad. And WWE, they didn't reshuffle the rosters that much. We just need a reset. We need a draft. So WWE, if you're watching this, which I know you're not, but please do the draft this year. Let's talk about Brock Lesnar. First, Gunther was asked about potentially retiring Brock Lesnar, and he said, quote, "That's a good one." Now, WWE isn't seeming to understand that Gunther doesn't need to retire everybody. Gunther, he's already retired Goldberg. He's already retired John Cena. He's retired AJ Styles. We don't need him to retire every single person. He's going to retire Brock Lesnar. He's going to retire Rey Mysterio. He's going to retire Cody Rhodes. He's going to retire Chris Jericho. He's going to retire Roman Reigns. He's going to retire Randy Orton. He's going to retire the Bella Twins. We don't need him to retire everybody, and nobody wants to see that. People are just going to get tired of it. If anybody should retire Brock Lesnar, I think it should be Obafemi. But Brock Lesnar is also confirmed to be full-time on the road to WrestleMania. He was on Raw this week in Atlanta. He will be on Raw on March 16th in San Antonio, March 23rd in Boston, March 30th in New York City, April 6th in Houston, and April 13th in Sacramento. This is great, but Brock Lesnar is confirmed to have an open challenge at WrestleMania. And if they wait till WrestleMania to reveal who's going to answer the open challenge, these dates are going to be completely meaningless and extremely, excruciatingly boring. If it's just 5 days, 5 weeks of Paul Heyman glazing cream in his jeans over Brock Lesnar saying how good he is and how nobody in the locker room is brave enough to step up to him, it's just going to be so boring, and it's going to get tiring very fast. So I'm hoping either somebody answers this on March 16th, or every week somebody comes out, tries to answer the open challenge, Brock Lesnar kills him, and then the next week the same thing happens, just like Santi's app said. Our last person we're going to talk about today is AJ Styles, officially retired, and there's a tweet From WrestleOps, WWE and AJ Styles have reportedly come to terms on a new deal that will officially keep him with the company. Styles will be helping with the development of new talent. This is great. AJ giving back to the wrestling business. That's totally on point, on character for him. And I think he's going to be able to help the future of WWE a lot. He's also been officially announced for the WWE Hall of Fame class of 2026. So far, it is him and Stephanie McMahon. He was announced by The Undertaker that he's going to be in the Hall of Fame. And it's seeming like The Undertaker's going around telling everybody they're going to be in the Hall of Fame, which is kind of cool, and I hope they keep doing it. Obviously, well-deserved for AJ Styles here, so congratulations to AJ Styles. And John Cena is currently the favorite to be inducting AJ Styles into the Hall of Fame class. Perfect person. One of his biggest rivals. Probably his biggest WWE rival. So John Cena is definitely the right choice. And I think AJ should be a strong contender to induct John Cena into the Hall of Fame. Because of how much history they have together. But yeah, let me know what you think. That's going to be it, though, for this episode of A Latte's Vision. Thank you so much for watching. Check out another video on the screen if you want. Like and subscribe if you want. And